When I was a little girl, I used to spend a lot of time looking in the mirror. It wasn't because I was vain. Actually, I was terribly afraid that I was an ugly duckling who would never become a swan, and I very well may not have. But really, what was holding my interest was I was so curious to see my own eyes, and something that even at that young age I perceived as being eternal. Now I find when I look in the mirror, I often do the same thing as I look into my own eyes and see something unchanging, even though my vision has certainly changed and all the area around my eyes, my face is aged and the wrinkles and the gray hair and all like that. But still, when I look in my eyes, I see this unchanging aspect of myself that continues to draw my curiosity. And I know that saying, we all know this saying, that the eyes are the window to the soul. And what I think about when I think about this aspect is what I call in the way of joy the observer self, or the part of ourselves that in some spiritual circles gets called the witness. And this is the part of ourselves that can be witnessing our lives from a state of detachment and compassion. In other words, not drawn into the emotions of what's going on and how we're reacting to things or all the different challenges we might be facing, but rather being able to watch what's happening with curiosity and presence. Now, I want to be very clear that I think all of the emotions that we have in our lives are extremely important. They are the essence of what we experience from a state of being alive. At the same time, I believe that when we can tap into that part of ourselves that is the observer, that is a neutral, compassionate presence, we can access the wisdom of what gets called the state of Shen in Qigong, or the heaven realm, which is the part of ourselves that can observe our lives as though we were way up in the cosmos, watching our lives happening as a narrative, fairly small, or with a sense of perspective and presence and love. So, when I spoke last week about chi moving in the space between, in the same way that when water moves down, a stream moves around stones and obstacles so that it just continues to flow, and that we can access that state of space by breathing, I think that space is also the home to this aspect in our eyes that is that constant, everlasting observer presence, the neutral, compassionate self that has an enormous amount of wisdom to offer us and an enormous amount of things to help everything go back into place. So, again, if I take a moment to breathe, open the space between my shoulders, let the clavicles open and smile, let the space between my eyebrows open, my jaw relax, and then exhale, especially during times of self-doubt or economic fears or times when I feel super stressed with so much to do. I think this is a wonderful way to ask ourselves and ask our own inner guidance. If you were to give me advice right now of how to deal with whatever challenge you might be dealing with, what would you say?